Hi guys. As usual, a lot has been going on here at the Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal shops. I was away for a week attending a show in Atlanta. I always like going south in the wintertime because it's cold and snowy here in Michigan, even now in March. And so I can head to the deep south like Atlanta and I can just bake in their sweltering 70-degree heat. So if you were at the show and you thought you were shaking hands with somebody that looked like a fat, aging version of Aladdin, that was just me with no shirt on and my stumpy vest trying to keep cool. Now, despite having 2 work days that week, we managed to put out 4 videos, including 2 while I was gone, which was no small feat. And this was a short week too, because I'm heading south to meet a breeder and pick up a new shop dog. I might even be there right now, getting all slathered in puppy kisses as we speak, depending on what day this video hits the internet. In the meantime, there's a million things going on around the 2 workshops here. We still have to make doors and drawers for the hand tool wall behind me. That's been in previous vlogs. Now, some folks have said I shouldn't cover my tools with doors because, you know, it looks kind of cool on video. And I don't intend to. The drawers go in these slots here beneath the back saws. And the doors go in the 2 upper corners, covering the stuff up in there. Although I am starting to rethink those. The doors, not the drawers. I always wear drawers, no matter how hot it is. Another project I've been working on was hinted at in our last vlog. It's a cabinet to go beneath my lathe, and that is what we're going to talk about today. The idea is to have storage for all the chucks and accessories, maybe turning blanks, definitely my turning tools, beneath the lathe instead of on the wall behind it. Because one of these days, I'm going to be reaching for a tool on the wall-mounted rack behind the lathe, and everything I'm wearing is going to get wrapped around the spinning blank, and I'm going to find out exactly how cold Michigan can be in March, which I admit is not a pretty picture. You're going to want to clear that out of your head pretty quick, so here's a way maybe you can do it. The other day, I was visiting a nursing home, and suddenly this old lady streaks down the hallway without a stitch of clothing on. So I'm trying not to laugh, but these 2 old guys are sitting at a table putting together a puzzle, and I hear one of them say, "What the heck was that?" And the other one says, "I don't know, but it could use some ironing." I'm making the lathe cabinet from a sheet of 3/4 inch and a sheet of 1/2 inch birch plywood. It took some planning to fit all the parts on these sheets, but SketchUp makes that pretty easy. And while I don't usually recommend cutting all your parts out at the beginning of a project like this, I took that risk because this is a shop project and I'm a pro, which means I can hide my mistakes. I'm using pocket holes again because you just cannot beat them for speed in this type of work. This time I tried a new way to keep the pieces aligned as I screwed them together. I used a couple of bench dogs to support the vertical panel, and I pushed hard against them as I drove the screws in. The idea is to keep the panel from shifting as the screws go in, a problem that plagues some pocket hole construction. It worked out pretty well. My joints came out reasonably flush. A little more effort, and I may just fool some folks into thinking I know what I'm doing. There's a drawer that sits on top of the carcass to fit beneath the lathe bed. For this, I had no problem screwing on the side panels, but putting on the top was a different story. There wasn't room for my drill to drive the pocket screws in, so I had to use a right-angle drilling jig. This thing has gotten me out of several jams like this over the years. It's essential if you do much pocket hole joinery. I'll link to it in the notes below. I made all the drawers out of 1/2 inch material, although some of these things are pretty big, and if I fill them up with things like turning blanks, maybe I could have strengthened them by using some 3/4 inch. Pin nails are your friend as much as pocket holes in these shop projects. In fact, a little glue and a bunch of pin nails and these drawer bottoms aren't coming off even though they aren't stuck in a groove. I'm sorry, it's hard to make a video about drawers without everything sounding like an underwear joke, and I'm just immature enough to laugh at it. The biggest challenge in this whole project was mounting the drawer slides. There are jigs for this, but I just did my usual method. I marked the location where I knew each drawer bottom was going to fall based on my SketchUp plans. Then I add 7/8 of an inch to those measurements, 7/8 being half the width of the drawer slide. Then I draw a line at each of those points. That line will go down the center of each drawer slide. So I line those by eye, making sure to offset it to account for the drawer fronts. And then I drill pilot holes so the screws don't go in crooked and shift the slide out of alignment as I mount them. 3 slides go on each side of the carcass, and another set goes inside the upper drawer compartment. The other half of the drawer slides go on the drawers themselves, all mounted with the same center line, 7/8 of an inch from the bottom of the drawer. Now here's where I found my first mistake. Remember how I pre-cut all my parts at the beginning of the project? Well, I didn't account for the plywood being undersized. So my drawers were too loose, and I had to shim beneath the slides to tighten the fit inside the carcass so I could pull open my drawers without everything falling apart. Had I waited to cut out the drawer parts until after the carcass was assembled, I could have made bigger drawers that fit better. Rookie mistake. I'm putting casters on this for two reasons. First, I want to easily move it to sweep beneath the lathe, and I also want to raise it up so I can get my toes beneath it so I can stand close to the lathe as I work. Now, why am I cutting PVC? You'll see. But here's a tip for cutting round stock like this safely on a chop saw. Put some sandpaper on the fence to keep it from twisting out of your grip during the cut. Adhesive back sanding discs will work just fine, but they're a little bit expensive. I keep some PSA-backed sandpaper rolls on hand for all sorts of things. They're really handy to have around the shop. I'll link to them in the notes below this video. Alternatively, you could use regular sandpaper sheets and double-sided tape. One piece on each side is all you need to grip the workpiece as you cut. However, you may be a little bit worried about the thickness of the sandpaper throwing off the angle of your cut, and if that's the case, put two pieces on each side to even it out. At the bench, I drilled and countersunk pilot holes on the ends of the tube so that screws could hold them down without the heads protruding. If you haven't figured it out yet, these tubes will hold my turning tools. Each one is screwed right into the top of the cabinet. I even left space beneath my upper drawer for this purpose. I'm not the first one to use PVC for a turning tool rack, but I like to think mine's best. To attach the last set on top of the tubes beneath it, I had to use some really short screws and then file the points off inside so they wouldn't catch on the turning tools later. I hadn't originally intended to put a back panel on this, but I wanted to keep the dust out of my drawers and it helped stiffen things up considerably. To mount the drawer fronts, I used washers for shims and drove screws right through the front panels into the drawer boxes behind. That holds them temporarily until I can use screws from the inside to mount them permanently. I've used double-sided tape for this in the past, but screws through the fronts work just fine as long as you put them where the poles will cover up the screw holes later. My lathe tools come in various lengths, and I don't want them to slip out of reach inside the tubes. So I cut some pieces of foam pipe insulation, which I interlocked together so they fit snugly inside the PVC pipe, and they act as depth stops for the tools. I haven't put anything inside the drawers yet because I'm still using tape as temporary pulls. I plan on turning some wood pulls in a future video. Then we'll open the drawers and organize my junk. I'm not sure if I'll make plans for this cabinet since it's specific to my lathe, which is a mid-size lathe. Let me know if you'd like some plans in the comments that you can maybe modify to your lathe. Now before we go, I have one last drawer joke because dumb jokes are fun. Why does the pirate wear underwear? To hide his booty. Think about that while you sit back and have yourself a cold one, because you've earned it, my friend. Nova has long been a leader in wood turning innovation, but their new DVR motors for lathes and drill presses are a game changer. No belts, fast and smooth speed changes, and smart technology that can do things you never thought possible. You have got to check these things out at the link below this video. Wait, don't go yet. If you're new here, please subscribe and remember to ring the bell. I would really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, or better yet, leave us a comment. I always read them. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always packed with tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker.